Jina langu ni Nancy Okware na nikukukumbusha tu ya kwamba tunapoingia kwenye msimu huu wa Krismasi na vile mwaka mpya, nikukukumbusha tu ya kwamba sherehe si wewe pekee. Wakumbuke wengine ambao hawajiwezi katika jamii. Usitende lile ambalo utajuta baadaye. Kumbuka ya kwamba baada ya sherehe kuna maisha. Na kutakia Krismasi njema na mwaka mpya wenye fanaka.
To get the pit as your skiza tune, dial *811 *397#.
You may be in the pit. You do not see how you could get out. But the good news is that you do not have to get by yourself. The Most High God is about to lift you out. He's about to turn the medical report. He's about to free you. He's about to open new doors, bringing new opportunities, new relationships. The pit is not your destination. Get ready to rise.
To get the pit, dial *811 *397#. *811 *397#.
Kenher urges drivers, passengers and pedestrians to follow traffic rules on major highways. Drivers, avoid overspeeding and drunk driving. Follow lane discipline. Always take a rest whenever experiencing fatigue. Do not leave stalled vehicles on the road without warning other motorists. Parking on the road shoulders is prohibited. Drivers should utilize designated parking lots and bus stops. Safety starts with you. Message brought to you by the Kenya National Highways Authority. Kenher, quality highways that take connections.
One day after Christmas, the 26th of December, 2022. Hello from wherever you're watching us in Kenya and around the world. This is KBC Prime Edition coming to you live from Broadcasting House on Harithuku Road here in Nairobi, Kenya. Good evening. My name is Mboya. Let's look at what we have for you tonight on our top stories.
Pursuing the attackers, authorities on the trail of criminals who killed 3 in Lamu on Christmas night. Maintaining maritime security, government bans evening activities on the ocean and the lake. Plus, celebrating Utamaduni Day, it's all systems go at the annual Vihiga Cultural Festival.
Well, our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo, who has done a very good job singing that Christmas carol, Silent Night. Our socials at KBC Channel 1, my Twitter handle at Tomboya24. Straight to our top story. Tensions remain high in Witu area, Lamu County, after 2 people were shot and killed by suspected Al-Shabaab militants Sunday in the evening. Several houses in the area were reportedly torched by attackers in Pandaguo area. Confirming the incident, Lamu County Commissioner Irungu Masharia assured residents of adequate security. Let's look at that report in more detail.
Residents of Taa location in Witu, Lamu County, are still reeling in shock from an attack that left 2 of their own dead. Torched houses, evidence of the destruction caused. Lynette Kafedha is a victim.
Hapo ndani kulikuwa na TV size 42 na pikipiki mbili. Tulipoteza vitu vingi hata siwezi hesabu.
The attack, however, raising more questions than answers as residents link it to land wrangles.
2014 ndio tulipoingia huku, mwaka huo haukuisha, kuna watu 5 walichinjwa hapa chini. Ikawa mzozo ni huo wa mashamba.
Juzi kuna mmoja ameuliziwa ni nani aliyekupatia shamba hii, hawa ambao wako mwisho. Hamjui huku ni renji, ni sehemu ya wenyewe.
They say they have been receiving threats from groups of individuals who they say want to use the field for grazing.
Wiki iliyopita walikuja watu 3 kwa jirani na wakaja wakamuuliza maswali. Huyo kijana ni mfanyaji kazi wa jirani yangu. Akamwambia, wewe hii shamba ulipewa na nani? Akasema nilipewa na wazee. Akasema wazee ni kina nani? Akataja hao wazee. Halafu hao watu akamwambia huyo kijana, tunaenda lakini baada ya wiki 2 tutarudi. Na hii wiki hii ndio ya pili.
Hata wanapokuwa wale wengine wanakuja kwa ajili ya uchungaji wa ng'ombe, wanatuliza, mmefanya sehemu yote kuwa sehemu ya mashamba. Hii lazima mtaenda.
Lamu County Commissioner Irungu Masharia, who visited the area, assured the residents of adequate security.
Kuna wale mtu anaathirika direct, kama yule mama ambaye amefiriwa na bwanake, watu ya hiyo familia, na sisi pia watu kwa kijiji, kwa unapatwa na mshtuko, tunafaa tutafute style yetu ya kucommunicate kama ndege vile wanafanya. Akiona kuna hatari pande ile anapiga mbija moja. Wengine wote wamejua kuna hatari. Kwa hivyo tukiwa hapo sisi katika vijiji, wacha tutafute mawasiliano yetu.
Kamcheminza for Prime Edition.
Now 9 people, among them 8 women, escaped death by a whisker after the canoe that they were in capsized in Lake Victoria during the annual canoe racing festival held in Bumbe, that's in Funyula constituency, Busia County. This as Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuria said that all beaches will be closed by 5:30 in the evening to ensure that the safety of holiday makers. Let's look at that report in more detail.
The annual boat racing of Funyula in Busia County. The event that dates back to 1967 and is held every 26th of December attracts hundreds of local community, among them leaders. Wrestling and a tug of war played a curtain raiser before the real breathtaking boat race competition. But what was meant to be merry turned tragic after one of the canoes capsized midstream. On board were 8 women and a man who was the canoe keeper. Quick intervention by local divers and those hired from Mombasa saved the 9 from drowning. This as Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuria banned all beach activities past 5:30 in the evening.
Kuanzia leo hapa ikifika saa 11:30 hatutarajii kutakuwa na mtu yoyote katika ufuo wa bahari. Na pia wale ambao wana zile boats ambazo wanazitumia kwa utalii, tunataka boat hizo ama chombo chochote kinachoingia baharini kiwe kimetimiza vile viwango vya usalama ambayo inastahili. Kwa mfano wawe na life jackets, na kuanzia leo hata hizo life jackets tutazifanyia ukaguzi.
The directive follows the drowning of 2 people in the Indian Ocean at Jomo Kenyatta Public Beach after their boat capsized on Christmas Day. 9 others were rescued.
From that narrow escape now, let's go to Tamaduni Day. A section of families from the Informal settlements have called on government to help them address the insecurity menace in their localities. The families say that there is nothing much to celebrate on this Utamaduni Day since life has become unbearable due to the security challenges and difficult economic situation. Our reporter Ruth Mboya spent time in Kinyago slums, that's in Nairobi, Kenya, with the families on Utamaduni Day and filed the following report.
Boxing Day is a day marked globally where people open presents that they have been gifted by friends and loved ones. In Kenya, a few years ago, it was changed to Utamaduni Day. Monday, December 26, 2022, it is mid-morning when we head to Kinyago slums in Starehe constituency in Nairobi. At this informal settlement in the heart of the capital city, Nairobi, the holiday is just like any other.
Ushakula lunch, nende nitembelea madhangu mlango. Pia ni msoto za Boxing Day. Nasi boxiane.
Florence Wamboi tells me they only value Christmas and New Year Day.
Mimi napanga tu, yani kama saa hii napanga venye nitapika lunch. Mtoi wangu aende tuition kwa sababu kuna mwalimu wanga anamfundisha kila siku. New Year sasa ni kujipanga tu, tungoje tu Mungu venye atapanga. Kila kitu najua unategemea na Mungu.
The children, however, are still in the festive mood, playing their hearts out in this small space.
Na marafiki zangu tulienda Two Rivers tukajibamba, tukarudi huko saa moja. Kama hizi merry-go-round, bouncing castle, swimming pool.
Anthony Maina, resident and children's football coach, says the biggest challenges facing the community here are insecurity and tough economic times.
Ni hizi nyumba yetu unaweza piga mabati pande ya nyuma ukate ama kufuli, na kwa sababu ya security issues inabidi afadhali ukae mtaa. Afadhali watu wote wakao kama siku ya jana. Mimi nimetembea hiyo mtaa lakini sijaona polisi hata mmoja. That means ni kama pia wameenda vacation.
Studio photography is still very popular here and is perhaps what could be considered as a festive season trait, going by the number of residents picking their Christmas photos.
Kuna potential kubwa sana kwa society na despite the challenges zile zinapatikana kwa slums, wase wako na kuna life.
The situation in Kinyago is in stark contrast to other parts of the city and country where those in a better financial position are spending the long holidays merrymaking.
Utamaduni Day, formerly known as Boxing Day. How did you and your family spend it? Well, even as you do your merrymaking, remember January is here with us and school fees is waiting for you.
Ruth Wamboi reporting for Prime Edition from Kinyago slums in Nairobi County.
That reminder there by Ruth Wamboi. Now, the capital city's central business district remained relatively quiet and slow, with only a few businesses opened, a contrast with other normal days. A spot check by Channel 1 showed slower traffic in the CBD. I could confirm that, with most streets deserted and businesses closed. Let's look at that report.
Nairobi's central business district Monday. Seemingly deserted streets, closed businesses and lesser traffic on the roads. From Mboya Avenue to the City Hallway, only a handful of traffic. The situation replicates in most city streets.
Mimi nafanya taksi miaka 8. Siku zingine jam, traffic, hata wezi pata pesa mingi. Saa hii jam hakuna, tunatanganeza pesa mingi, tunashukuru Mungu. Wakati iko jam pesa wezi tanganeza.
For the few Kenyans who are still in the city, Luna Park remains the destination of choice. From merry-go-rounds to horse and camel rides, that was something for everyone. The families here appreciate this year's festive season, which is contrary to last year's due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Tumekuwa na wakati mzuri hata baada ya uchaguzi pia. Saa hii at least we have peace of mind. Licha hakuna pesa nini, but we have peace of mind.
Siku yangu ya jana nilienda kanisa, nikitokea church nilienda tu home. So siku ya leo ndio naweza sema imekuwa fun kwangu.
Nimeslide, nimeenjoy kuslide. slide na nimeenjoy kuwa na marafiki huko kwa slide.
Some choosing the Christmas tree outside the governor's office or city hall for record and future reference. The Nairobians calling on Kenyans to celebrate the festivities and remember the less fortunate. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has called for collaboration and support of the government by all stakeholders for the sake of the country's growth. Speaking at the 43rd Annual Vihiga Cultural Festivals at Mbale Grounds, Mudavadi noted that government was keen on honouring its obligations to all Kenyans despite their political affiliations. The Prime Cabinet Secretary, at the same time, challenged the organisers of the event to, in future, incorporate youth to ensure that the preservation of culture for generations to come.
The 43rd Annual Cultural Festival under the theme Kuhamba Vugui brought together the 4 sub-tribes of Maragoli, Banyore, Tiriki and Terik from the region. Kuhamba Vugui loosely translates to mean having a sense to live amongst each other in the society once you migrate from your ancestral land. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who was the chief guest, prompted the residents on the need of supporting the government to ensure the region's prosperity.
We should not deceive ourselves that we go backwards again. We must now move forward. And I want you to move forward with me. I want you to move forward with us.
The Prime Cabinet used the podium to call on their competitors during the last general elections to put aside their difference and work together. He, however, challenged the organizers going forward to incorporate youths to ensure the preservation of culture for generations to come.
Tunataka culture ianze, hawa vijana nao waanze kuendesha kwa sababu you must hand over to them. Nataka tukija culture ya 2023 tuwe tumeona competition ya vijana kuendesha baiskeli, tuwapatie bodaboda kama zawadi. Tunataka tuone competition ya vijana kwa utamaduni, tuone nani ni chief wrestler. Tunataka tuone wasichana wetu wakiwa na competition hapa, tuwapatie zawadi kama ni hiyo machine na ama nini ya kufanya biashara, ili we connect with the young people with the culture.
He at the same time asked youths from the region to register under the Hustlers Fund to start and grow their businesses.
Wewe unataka biashara, wewe unataka kazi. This is an opportunity kwa riba ambayo ni nzuri. Tumia.
The event was attended by other regional leaders, among them host Governor Wilbur Otichilo, Women Representative Beatrice Adagala, Members of Parliament Clement Shoya, Omboko Milemba and Didmas Baraza. For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
Thank you, Zainab Said, for teaching us that new word, kuambuguvi, the ability to live well in a new place with the locals. Now, Kenyans of goodwill continue to extend a helping hand to the less fortunate in society in line with the Christmas spirit of giving. The well-wishers called on other Kenyans to borrow a leaf and support the noble gesture of giving, given that majority of families are suffering owing to the prolonged drought and also the hard economic times. Here's more from George Kibaru.
Suneka Transporters Sacco has recognized its workers through NDA presence, a rare occasion in the Matatu sector. The Sacco officials commended the workers for their collective devotion to improve service delivery to the public in the year under review. During the ceremony at the Suneka bus stage in Kisii town, Bob Kiboma urged the workers to share their presence with their families, even as he hinted at underway plans to strengthen the Sacco.
Na kuna ile grupu tulianza leo, ile kombe ambayo tulianza leo. Naomba tu kila mtu ajaribu aingie kwa hii group kwa sababu itawasaidia. Pia tunapanga siku moja gavana wetu wa Kisii akuja angalia watu wote ambao tunashirikiana nao ili atupatie support kidogo.
Meanwhile, kids at Bethel Children's Home in Londiani, Kericho County celebrated Christmas in a different way after Area Member of Parliament Joseph Cherorot led other well-wishers in donated foodstuff such as maize and beddings to the facility.
Christmas sio siku ya kusherehekea katika nyumba zetu, ni siku ya kukumbuka wale ambao hawana chochote katika society, katika community yetu.
Elsewhere, a group of friends in Kisumu County has come to the rescue of neglected street children by offering them assorted food items. Operating under the banner Gifted Heart and Hope Foundation, the non-profit organization mobilized foodstuff for 400 street children in Kisumu City to show them love and compassion during the festive season.
Today we had a loaf of bread, a soda, and a fruit just to have them for breakfast. This is what we call the relief from hunger, and we are doing it. We are relieving these guys of hunger.
I appreciate for this, all this food we have been given, because we are poor, we are starving, we don't have a tough job.
And Lumino Nursing and Maternity Hospital in Kakamega County is celebrating its first Christmas Day delivery since its establishment. Baby Daryl Ochama was born on Christmas Day. He is the firstborn of Enoch and Valin Muchama.
We have been waiting for Christmas babies and buying presents. We have never got one. So today was our first day, though mothers deliver here, but this was our first day to receive a Christmas child.
Sikuwa na expect kama ningepata mtoto leo, lakini ni kwa sababu ya mapenzi ya Mungu. Nina furaha.
George Kibaru for Prime Edition.
Well, that story brings us to our first break. Just a short one. When we come back, we'll be looking at what the Ebola advisory is all about, plus the latest talent search. We'll tell you where and who is organizing it. Stay with us.
Cheza loto, shinda pesa moto.
Wachua mamili leo na loto moto. Cheza ukianzia na shilingi 50 na ushinde milioni 2 kila siku. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno loto. Kisha, weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa. Kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Makinika papa hapa ili utimize ndoto zako na Loto Moto. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB. Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
Did you know that while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause? Stop these crashes before they stop you. Ensure that you adhere to traffic rules to prevent these crashes. Always observe the fatal 6 to be safe. When driving, please ensure that your speed is within the stipulated limits, the road ahead is clear before overtaking, stick to your lane, keep left unless carefully overtaking. Ensure that you are well rested before driving on long distance, and never drink and drive. Usalama barabarani starts with you. Fika Salama. This message is brought to you by NTSA and the European Union.
Son bandidas los recuerdos que me llevan a soñar. Bandidas las que un día aprendieron a amar.
Meja aka Rotagarama aka Bakurama aka mtoto wa Hadija aka Okonko. Yo manze, unatiki grapevine ndani ya KBC au sio? Stoke hapo baadaye.
The One Week Festival organized by the Nairobi City County Government provided a platform to celebrate the diversity of Nairobi as well as its rich creative arts, culture and ICT. Over the weekend, Alliance Francaise Nairobi was the place to be as film lovers converged to celebrate another milestone in our creative industry, a production aimed at telling our own cultural story. Culture is the epitome of our identity as Africa, and across the world, different people celebrate their diverse cultures.
So when I came this year, I came with a new strategy. I prayed more. I worked for it more, and I was just hoping because the competition was getting tighter every single day. Every person was raising their standards, their bar every single day.
Huyu ni Bahati, mtoto wa mama, Island's most beloved, the ghetto president, mtoto wa Mungu. And I want to wish you a happy new year. It's a Merry Christmas and a happy new year, and keep locked on Grapevine on Channel 1.
Welcome back. Kenyans marked Christmas Day in style as most trooped various fun sites across the country to mark the festivities, from parks to recreational facilities to restaurants for food as well as refreshments. The recreation sites came in handy for many Kenyans who did not travel up country as they chose to make merry by sampling various fun spots around. Let's look at how all that went down.
Camp Ndunda Falls in Embu County was the go-to area for most residents in the county. It is located deep in Njukiri Forest at the slopes of Mount Kenya. Lots of fun nature activities here, such as this wild swing that gets you to challenge your fears. Both the young and the old made merry in the best way they know how.
Tumekuja Kabududa kusherehekea kidogo kidogo sherehe za Christmas hapa na pale, kuleta watoto wajivijali.
I come here to enjoy Christmas.
The visits by residents here clearly promoting local tourism.
I've really enjoyed the activities around here. I think it will be an example to Kenyans. We should promote our own country.
And I'm surprised that we have got very nice camps here, which are actually not known to most of the people.
In Nairobi, Gravity Park too had its fair share of the crowds of merrymakers on its ground. Here, it's all fun games under one roof. Food and refreshments also just an order away.
More specifically today because yesterday, looking and checking, ilikuwa so packed to capacity. Yeah, my kids tulisikia about the zero gravity machine, and they've been really going crazy at home.
I like it here, the life jackets. You know, in other places there you can pay for it.
As Kenyans are slowly recovering from the economic shocks occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic, such recreational areas, parks and nature trails are just but perhaps the best to relax, bond with families as well as unwind.
To that story that I mentioned during the break, the Ministry of Health is still cautioning members of public to take necessary hygiene precautions to curb any likelihood of the Ebola virus infection. In the latest communication, the Ministry of Health, which is running a sensitization campaign on Ebola, has advised against contact with dead bodies, those deaths, that remain unknown.
Since the first case of Ebola was reported in Uganda on September 20th, 2022, the Kenyan government has been on high alert. The government formed a national task force on Ebola virus disease that has been conducting a situational review of Kenya's preparation to deal with the disease. This as the Ministry of Health continues with its Ebola Watch campaign, cautioning members of the public against handling or touching the bodies of people who have died of unknown cause or those suspected to have died due to the deadly virus. Ebola virus disease is a highly infectious disease whose symptoms are fever, headache, sore throat, vomiting, body weakness, diarrhea, rash, muscle pain, and sometimes bleeding from body openings. In its advisory, the Ministry of Health also cautions hunters, butchers, handlers of wild animal and products, and veterinarians whom it is said are at high risk of getting Ebola virus disease. Prevention measures include wearing personal protective gear while attending to an infected person, regularly washing hands with soap and running water, and using hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Surveillance has been scaled up in the Kenya-Ugandan common borders of Busia and Malaba. No new case nor death has been reported in the last 1 month in Uganda. Fatalities remain 55 out of 142 infected with the Sudan Ebola virus. The Ugandan government is carrying out community-based surveillance and active case finding. Beatrice Getanyangetich, Prime Edition.
Leaders in Kirinyaga County have been urged to join hands in nurturing the talents of the youth in the county. Kirinyaga Women Member of Parliament Jen Jeri, while officiating a talent search exercise, said that supporting the youth would address mental health issues, among other things.
In one of-a-kind event organized by Kirinyaga University, in front of a panel of judges, youth drawn from various parts of Kirinyaga County assembled at the Corner View grounds to showcase their talents, from dancing to singing. Presiding over the occasion, dubbed Kirinyaga Got Talent in partnership with Inua Initiative, was Kirinyaga Woman Member of Parliament Jane Jeri. She hailed the initiative, which she said was a great step towards empowering the youth and nurturing young talents, which can be used to provide an alternative source of income.
You find there are very many young people who are earning from talent. We just concluded the World Cup. We saw Kylian Mbappe. We saw Azad from Kenya on TikTok. They're making good money. David Mboya. So at the end of the day, I believe that talent is the future of this nation, because we can no longer sustain traditional economy jobs.
Jerry added that collaborative efforts by leaders in growing talents among the youth will be key to addressing mental health issues that were on the rise in the country and which had led to indulging in drug and substance abuse.
And I want to ask every leader in Kirinyaga County to ensure that we support young people, because if we do not support the young generation, we will not have a future. And at the end of the day, we must invest in our young people, because talent is the future of this nation and this county.
Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Farmers in Shianda in Kakamega County are set to benefit from a new initiative geared towards promoting cultivation of traditional vegetables for export to markets beyond the region. This is after a factory was set up to sort and package the indigenous vegetables for export.
The new factory, opened by Aaron Growth Pad Limited in Kakamega County, is purely for the processing of indigenous vegetables.
We start by sorting and plucking. Then after plucking, we do the processing of the drying. And then after drying, after processing inside here, we take them out for drying.
African leafy vegetables have a problem with their seasonality, especially dry seasons. Like right now, if you go to a farmer and ask for saga, you won't get saga. But if you come to us, you're going to get saga in dried form, which will still be nutritional.
Vegetables such as managu, simboka and saga are sourced from the Lake Region Economic Bloc and packed for export.
They have a longer shelf life of 1 year. So what you're looking at is a mito that can stay in this tin for 1 year. So if you buy today, be sure you'll have it in your stock until next year, a time like now.
Iron Growth Pad Limited Director James Shikwati said the modern technology is being used to ensure the vegetables have a longer shelf life.
It is more than just a vegetable. We are trying to create that possibility that Kenyans who go out there, they can also establish restaurants and promote Kenyan food.
Shikwati further urged farmers to spare sections of their farms to plant traditional vegetables as a source of generating extra income.
That many of us, especially in rural Western, we rely on maize Everybody wants to plant maize, but we're just telling them you can set aside a small piece of your land and you can make regular income per month.
Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
And across borders, at least 38 deaths have now been linked to a severe Arctic freeze that's in the United States and Canada. Elsewhere, a Ukrainian drone attack on Angels bomber base that's in South Russia has left 3 people dead. Details of these and other stories in our international news roundup.
Officials say 34 people died across the U.S., with the worst hit area being the city of Buffalo in New York State. 4 fatalities occurred in Canada when a bus rolled over on an icy road near the town of Merritt in the western province of British Columbia. The scope of the winter storm has been unprecedented, stretching from Canada as far south as the Rio Grande. Forecasters say the storm will ease off in the next few days, but the advice remains to avoid traveling unless essential. Elsewhere, Russia's defense ministry says its air defenses shot down the Ukrainian drone that left 3 Russian servicemen dead after succumbing to injuries caused by the drone debris. The Engels airbase has been repeatedly used by Russia to carry out missile strikes on various targets in Ukraine since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion on February 24 this year. The Kremlin has accused Ukraine of attacking its territory before, but the alleged attacks in December are deeper into Russia than previous ones. Meanwhile, dozens of Rohingya refugees, all men, have drifted onto a beach in western Indonesia in a wooden boat with a broken engine after spending a month at the sea. The wooden boat with 57 men on board landed in Aceh province. A local immigration official said the refugees would be temporarily placed at a government facility. Cindy Alwach for Prime Edition.
The year 2022 saw KBC launch a weekly news feature showcasing exceptional contribution of some of the Kenya Defence Force officers, those in service as well as those who have retired. Throughout the year, Nisi Imano brought their stories, and here now is a taste of Military Tales year 2022.
Lieutenant General Daniel Ishmael Opande served in the Kenyan military for close to half a century. He is not only a Kenyan hero, but a military officer honored in Africa for his unparalleled bravery, courage and resilience exhibited during his missions in various countries of Africa.
Sierra Leone was the largest then peacekeeping mission that the United Nations had established, and I landed there as the force commander. I still do a little bit of sharing my experiences on peacekeeping with various organizations.
Lieutenant General Lazaro Sumbeyo was the army commander during a period that the military underwent great transformation.
By the time I left the army, it had trained, the army had proper equipment, had proper uniforms, and that's what the soldier is. And discipline had returned.
During his days as the commander of the Kenya Army, he earned the nickname ZT for his zero tolerance to corruption.
Officers in the army can attest that I think I made a difference. There was reform, total reform in the army.
We also brought you the story of Lieutenant Colonel Martha Waithaka, who served as the Women Corps commander at a time when the Kenya Defence Forces restricted female soldiers from marrying and childbearing due to the inconvenience of juggling between family life and military career.
Any girl who would become pregnant, they just upon being discovered, should just be ready to go home.
Eventually, in November of 1999, President Moi allowed for equal rights to be granted to men and women.
It was a very joyous moment, more so for the women, me inclusive.
Still in 2022, we let you know about Major retired Patrick Gishuhi Ngobe, the man who coined the slogan, Imara Angani, which stands to date.
And I did that work at a very strict supervision. At the same time, I was given the task of designing the flag for the new Air Force. Fortunately, I completed the establishment work and handed it over to the Air Force headquarters to General Mohammed. He was the Air Force commander then.
The slogan came following the 1982 attempted coup that saw the name Kenya Air Force dropped and temporarily replaced with the 1982 Air Force.
And we were given the new uniform, we were given new numbers, and we were turned now into Air Force. Even a mention of Kenya Air Force, you could be sent home or to jail.
Brigadier retired Dr. Robert Kabage served in the Kenya military at a time when war was threatening to tear apart the African continent.
I remember in May 2000, I was in a place called Makeni, and I had a British officer with me. We had gone to try and set up a DDL camp. We almost got kidnapped. We were actually assisted by a Kenyan military contingent that was in that area.
He was in the very first Kenyan military contingent to Sierra Leone in 1999, deployed as a disarmament officer in the peacekeeping mission.
I also had the opportunity of being appointed a defense attaché to our Kenya mission to the United Nations to address issues of peacekeeping, deployment of our peacekeepers, police, military, and prisons.
And those are just a few of the many, many episodes that we brought to you from the year 2022 of Military Tales.
For Prime Edition, I'm Nisi Imano.
Thank you, Missy Imano, for consolidating all those reports that you have done for the entire year. I think it's a good job bringing us those military officers who served. And somebody once told me that generals don't retire, they just retreat. So we're going to take our short second break right here on KBC, and when we return, we'll be looking at other stories, including one or two items, I think, in sports. So don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
With Glovo, you have anything you want from your city in your hands. Kama unatamani ugali beef ama fried chicken, order Glovo ujaribu restaurant mpya. Tamu. Kama game inawaka na unataka drinks zaidi, order Glovo ushangilie timu yako. Na kama your little one amemes na diaper zimeisha, order Glovo and save the day. With Glovo, unaweza track order yako na kuongea na customer support, which is always available. Download the app and order anything you want from your city. We'll deliver.
Kenher urges drivers, passengers and pedestrians to follow traffic rules on major highways. Drivers, avoid overspeeding and drunk driving. Follow lane discipline. Always take a rest whenever experiencing fatigue. Do not leave stalled vehicles on the road without warning other motorists. Parking on the road shoulders is prohibited. Drivers should utilize designated parking lots and bus stops. Safety starts with you. Message brought to you by the Kenya National Highways Authority. Kenher, quality highways, better connections.
Wachua mamili leo na Loto Moto. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto, kisha weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa, kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi.
Ni msimu wa Krismasi, wakati wa mashamshau, mapochopocho, chapati, mandazi, biriani, pilau, katlesi, nyama choma hadi kwenye mishikaki. Lakini mtazamaji, kumbuka kuna Januari, wakati wa kudetox hivi vitu vyote, na vile vile kumbuka bajeti ya Januari na vile vile ya Disemba. Heri ya Krismasi, Happy Merry Christmas.
Welcome to Sports. Champions Martin Njoroge and Sasha Mwongeli began well the defense of their national chess titles by winning their respective opening matches at Charter Hall in Nairobi, Kenya. Njoroge saw off Kamaljit Bari while Mwongeli defeated Mashao Genevieve. Here's that report.
Defending champions Martin Njoroge and Sasha Mwongeli are well on course to defend their national chess titles after winning their opening matches. Njoroge started on a positive note, beating Kamaljit Bari, while Sasha won her opening match against Mashao Genevieve. Mehul Gohil, the 2019 champion, needed to work extra hard to dispatch off newcomer Samuel Osoro.
This is our nationals chess championship. From here, we're supposed to select a team that will be representing the country from next year. So this is our first phase, and we have 200 entries.
Favorite Ben Magana also won his opening game against Frederick Omosa. Round 1 saw some upsets, with 4th seed candidate Master Ben Nguko held to a draw by Moses Lukoko, and 7th seed Gethinji Hinga lost to Dominic Kiema in the open section.
Schedule for next year, once we get the team, we have so many international tournaments that are coming up. So the team that we get, those are the people who are going to be representing the country in all those international tournaments.
In the ladies section, 2017 women champion Joyce Nyarwai was surprisingly held to a draw by Maureen Jerry. A total of 188 players are competing in the event, which is a first phase qualifier for the African Games, and will be a 9-rounder ending on Friday, with the winner in the open section driving away with a brand new Master Demio. Top players in the men and women categories will pocket cash prizes of 100,000 shillings each, while best players in the disabilities section will pocket cash rewards of 5,000 shillings each. 11 players with disabilities, 7 men and 4 women, are competing in the national event.
The 2023 World Rally Championship season will begin over the weekend on the 21st to the 22nd of January with Rally Monte Carlo, which will be the first of the 13th legs to be held. The Kenyan leg will be the 7th and will be held over the weekend between the 24th and 25th of June, just 20 days after the rally. Start again in Italy. The snow leg of Rally Sweden will be the second leg to be held in February, with Rally Mexican taking drivers on the fastest of gravel in March. The season ends with Rally Japan on the 19th of November 2023. Other countries to host the 2023 WRC will include Croatia, Estonia, Finland, Greece, and Chile. England captain Harry Kane scored in the first Premier League match since the World Cup, as Tottenham fought back from 2-0 down to a 2-2 draw with Brentford. The Bees were on course for their first win over Spurs since 1948, when Vitaly Janelt gave them an early lead in the 15th minute, with Ivan Toney adding a second, before Spurs netted twice in the last 25 minutes through Harry Kane and Pierre-Emile Huber, respectively. Well, that's all we had time for. I want to thank you for watching on behalf of our dedicated team here. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, it's Boxing Day. Have lots of delicious food, drinks, and enjoy the day with your friends and family. My name is Mboya. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya.